Footy 258 here, and we're back again. I'm with some good friends in the game. They helped me during my times of off-season, get me ready, saving my shots. We got with me Melvin Minter from Kings Langley and Hafed Al-Droubi from Beaconsfield. How you guys doing?
Yeah, good man.
Good, thank you.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, so just to start off with Hafed, I've known you for a while now. Went to the same secondary school, so probably going on like 10 years, something like that now. How are you feeling, man, during this time? I know you're an upbeat person, so how are you feeling?
I'm trying to make positive out of a negative situation, man. So obviously, I know all of us are missing football right now. So yeah, it's a tough situation to be in. I'm an active person. I'm an outside type of guy, innit? Like I like to be out, gym, football, extra training sessions. So it's tough, man. But it's a time of reflection and a time of, kind of rest. So it's not been too bad.
What about you, Mom?
Yeah, like just touching base on what Haf said. It's been tough mentally because like you're actively training regularly and stuff, and that's all been put on hold like suddenly with no sort of prior warning. So I'm just trying to keep myself active, doing like investment in other stuff, keeping myself ticking over really.
Yeah, I see you doing your IG lives for the young goalkeepers out there. So how does your motivation, how does that keep lasting, and how do you just keep going? What's your motivation?
That most of it is more of like just not procrastinating and just doing nothing really. Like even though I'm down to like limited resources, like I can't obviously leave my house and train outside. Like you can still improvise and adapt to the situation. So just keeping myself ready for when football's back and life is back to normal. So yeah.
Would you say Hafed, that it's been a good thing or a bad thing that like something like this is hit? And obviously there's negatives that come with it, that we don't get to play football no more, but do you feel like you've kind of found other things to do, and even in your game, let's say, for example?
Yeah, so obviously what I said earlier was this has been a good time for reflection. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of time to sit down and think and like kind of assess your situation. So obviously with a lot of time off, there's a lot of time to just reflect and sit down and kind of think about the things that you've done right, the things that you've done wrong, and what you could improve in, what more you can do as a goalkeeper, as a footballer. So at the same time, it has been obviously negative that we can't actually get out there and play football and touch actual football and get back to the routine. But at the same time, it's a good time to actually really think deeply of what you want to do and what your plans are for next season and what you can do better, like what things you can implement, and put in place for next season, And then it's been a difficult time, but at the same time, you got to make good out of a bad situation, man. So as Melvin was saying, man, you can't dwell on limited resources and things like that. You just have to just kind of adapt and get on with it, really. So I've just been taking this time to just kind of reflect and kind of get my hunger and strength back for next season and kind of start again. It's been a fresh start for a lot of us, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So how was last season for you? Or I'm saying last season and still this season. How was it for you? And what kind of momentum were you on?
So the kind of challenges that I had to face last season was I had a stop and start pre-season because at the club I was at, it was difficult because at some semi-professional clubs they don't have a full-time goalkeeper coach, so it's difficult to just go to training and work by yourself. Sometimes I have to pull like a young goalkeeper that I coach on the side to help me out with training sessions and stuff like that. So in terms of that, it was kind of difficult in terms of a pre-season for me. I've had to kind of adapt and just do things off the cusp. But at the same time, I started the season off really strong, 3 months in a row, player of the month, sorry. And then things from there started going downhill. I started a new job and my priorities kind of shifted from like training full-time, a full-time environment to kind of like working. And those are kind of the difficulties of being a semi-professional footballer. I'm sure Melv can relate, man. It's difficult trying to be a semi-pro footballer and get to the next level of football but you still have to pay your bills at home, and you can't, kind of commit a full-time environment that are not paying you. So it's difficult trying to shift your mentality from training full-time and working, and it's difficult, man. So towards that December time of the year that just went, my priorities kind of shifted towards, kind of making money and being stable in life. That, my performances dipped in football, and that resulted with me leaving my first club that I was at this season, Harrogate, which I've done so well for probably the last season and a half, 2 seasons. And that's what made me get the move to Beaconsfield, and it was kind of like a fresh start. And then all of this madness happened. So season started really good, dipped a little bit, and then the quarantines happened and the coronavirus. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise for me, I reckon. It's a fresh start for me next season.
What about you, Melvin? How was the last season? How do you think it went?
So in terms of the start of last season, pre-season joined Kings Langley very, very late. I think maybe with 2 weeks to start at the start of the season, and I say first 3 to 4 months were mixed results, mixed performances for myself as well. I was more consistent than the others in terms of players in my team, but our results as a team was like mixed. And in terms of like the league and stuff, we didn't really push on to the second half of the season. So second half of the season, we was unbeaten in the league, and we was unbeaten in all competitions. We actually lost the last game before the quarantine stuff happened. But in terms of performances, had a very, very, I say, in terms of me being a goalkeeper, it's been my best season to date in terms of stats, performances, and clean sheets behind me. So very, very strong season.
Yeah, just touching off what Haf basically just said. How is it in you guys' position where, a semi-professional club might not have a goalkeeper coach, or they might not train, 5 times a week or how many ever times a week? How is that, for you guys in your situation, as you guys want to be the best you can, and maybe the club or the players you're playing with don't have that same ambition?
As it is, like as what Haf was saying, it's tough because like certain clubs will have a goalkeeping coach, certain clubs won't. So my club didn't actually have a goalkeeping coach until the second half of the season. So that was me having to adapt, me having to do extra training sessions, me having to do sessions with other people away from the club in order to make sure that I was at my maximum when it came to like a match day or training with the club. So like it's tough as it is, but at the same time, like I feel like me personally, everyone's different in it. You can always try and find a way, even if there's an obstacle in front of you in it. So like you just have to adapt to certain things in life, and that's the way non-league is. It hasn't always got the resources that you need to push on. So that's what I'd say really.
Yeah. So how does that like, how is it basically to have someone like Melvin, good guy as well, where you can just call up on, I don't know how it is for you guys, where you could just call up and be like, listen, I need some practice. You need to get some work in, and just call him up and basically just train with somebody where they're on your level of mentality as well, and they want to achieve things that you want to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, that's super important. I remember meeting Melvin, the first day I met him was straight away like, yo, like, let's work together straight away. Like, we just bounced off each other straight away. As soon as I met him, exchange numbers, let's meet up anytime, anywhere, especially because he doesn't live too far away from me. And from the first day I met him, goalkeeping is a tight-knit community. So when you meet a goalkeeper on your level, your mentality, it's good to just connect, and instead of looking at each other as competition, we looked at each other as like teammates. You know what I'm saying? I help Melvin out with certain things. He talks to me about certain things. And ultimately, in the last like 3 to 4 years that I've known him, we've helped each other out massively. Like, he'll tell you, and obviously you've been a part of some of the sessions, it's me and Melvin in goal. And I don't look at Melvin like, oh, he's competition to me. Or I look at it like, if Melvin's playing well, that motivates me to, push on. So I don't look at it like from a competitive point of view. Yeah, of course I look at it from, I look at it from a competitive point of view, but I'm not in competition with him. Does that make sense? Like when he does well, it pushes me. And I'm sure if I do well, it pushes him. So we motivate each other. We talk to each other. We do sessions with each other. And ultimately it gets us sharp for our clubs, whoever we're playing for at the time. Even our sessions on Sundays, we've done sessions away from that. So ultimately, having someone like Melvin to work with is definitely a positive, And I urge all young goalkeepers to not look at other goalkeepers as competition, and for them to come together and work together, because that's the only way that goalkeepers at a semi-pro level or even at an amateur level are going to push, because it's difficult to have the resource to, pay a goalkeeper coach or get into a good setup where they have a goalkeeper coach. That's difficult. What's easy is getting someone who's your friend, another goalkeeper, and working together and pushing each other. That's the easiest part for me. Yeah. And that's why me and Melvin connected.
What about you, Melvin? Yeah, what's your side of that story?
Yeah. So like, it's flown like very, very quickly. But yeah, knowing Haf like 3-4 years ago, and just seeing like the way he plays and looking at certain styles of his sort of goalkeeping elements that I can learn from. I've always been open to working with him, doing sessions with him, looking to learn from him. So for me, like, is admiring another goalkeeper and looking to learn from him and working together is only going to help your game, because at the end of the day, you can never stop learning. It doesn't matter who you're working with. The person could be 10 years younger than you. The person could be 20 years older than you. So I just feel like working with Haf has been a blessing. And also the sessions that we have when he's performing well, then yeah, it does motivate me to go harder, and it's vice versa. So yeah, like as it is, like playing non-league as it is, like you just have to adapt, and that's what we've done. And
you're training together, playing together, also going to these sessions as well. The sessions are high quality, man. Like, people don't realize how high quality these sessions are, especially for it's organized, but it's unorganized, like technically unprofessional games, It's 5-a-side. At the end of the day, 6-a-side. So just speak on the quality that you see there, and speak on how that's helped you guys. Let's say, for example, how that's helped you develop throughout the years, and what you look out for in terms of like players and what they're doing in terms of how they're shooting and stuff, and things like that.
So like, coming to these sessions is a real eye opener for a lot of players, especially for goalkeepers. So obviously, me and Melvin have been going to these sessions since they started. Obviously, we started it together, whatever the case is. But always when I bring a younger player or a younger goalkeeper to these sessions, they always struggle because they can't keep up with the intensity. So when I first went, obviously when I first went, it's funny because you was there, Jordan, the first day, innit? And I know Jordan for years, and I know Jordan, his finishing is ridiculous, obviously. And we're playing in the 5-a-side. It's small. It's a small area, so it's difficult to like decide whether you want to go early as a goalkeeper, stand up, and be hard to beat. So when you're playing in these 5-a-side, 6-a-side, 7-a-side environments where you're facing 70, 80, 90 shots a session, it's so positive. I mean, you learn so much about yourself as a goalkeeper, how tough-skinned you are. There's a lot of trash talk as well between the players, which adds that element of fun, but at the same time still competitive. Yeah. So now the intensity, the quality is unbelievable, especially when you go to professional. It's unprofessional professional environments where everyone's on it, everyone wants to win, but there's still an element of fun about it. So obviously, when you're playing against top level players, you learn a lot about players, like just body shape, just eyes, just things like that. So like in time, you learn what kind of players you play against, and that helps you on a Saturday sometimes, because you might play against a similar player and you thought, okay, cool, well, I saved 7, 8, 9 shots similar to this. So it gives you kind of the confidence to go into your Tuesday or Saturday games, knowing that you've had a banging session where it was just 100 shots and you've done really well.
Yeah.
You breathe that confidence into your game on the Tuesdays and the Saturdays. And I think it's helped me and Melv massively over the last 2-3 years playing against top level players like yourself, Jordan, and a lot of players to name. Like, I could sit here for hours talking about the players that come to those sessions.
Madness.
You know what I mean? So it's helped us massively.
What about you, Melv?
It's only for me, like, it's only, I say, the last year and a half to my involvement with Rising Ballers is the reason why I haven't been involved in them sessions as of much. But like, since I've been involved with them from day one, like, what's interesting for me is that the players that's involved within the session, are top players. So I'm in an environment with players that are in better positions than me, players that are playing week in, week out at the highest level possible. And it's like, you look at the intensity that they play with, their decision making, and what they do on and off the ball. It's a real eye opener, and it may take some people time to adjust to it, but it's a very, very enjoyable experience every single time I go. And it's just about whether you back yourself to compete. And if you back yourself to compete and you put in the work, then it shows when you're doing them sessions. So like week in, week out, like doing them sessions it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's enjoyable at the same time.
Yeah, if we were to sit here and name how many London footballers, young footballers, have joined that session, mostly it's hosted in Northwest London, where me and Haf are from. But yeah, I would be here for ages, and I would miss so many people out. But I'm going to put you guys a bit under pressure now, just to tell the people, give me the guy who you want on your team defending your goal in front of you out of all the people in that session, or who's joined that session, and give me the person, who you don't want to be saving shots against and you want on your team scoring against. Like, let's say he's scoring against Melvin, scoring against Hafed.
It's a good question,
Jesus. This could be this. I'm gonna upset a lot of people by saying names.
Yeah, I know. It's not. This is not gonna be perfect.
Just one name. Just one name. That's one name for both.
So what you said? One defender, one attacker.
Yes, one. And there's not many defenders there, so there's more midfielders and stuff like that. But who's that guy where he's gonna block? He's gonna block shots for you. Like no one's getting past him. His distribution from the back as well, because that's important as well in those tight either side games as well.
I don't know. I think recently, I'll go first. Recently, you weren't there, Jordan, but recently, I think a guy called Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, the defender Chris.
Yeah, he played for
Wrexham. Very, very solid.
Okay.
Yeah, he was very, very solid.
Yeah.
So for me, he springs up into my mind in terms of defensive solidarity. And then I'm saying strikers. For me personally, I'm saying for Jiri, Doncaster, his finishing is a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke. That's just me personally. Every time I'm coming up against him, I just felt like it was a good sort of battle. And I would have preferred for him to been on my team than against me. But then again, I always like to challenge myself. So if I went against him, I wouldn't actually mind, innit? But I'm saying Chris and Fajiri.
Okay, Fajiri, my boy, me and
shout
DJ,
out
Faye, we've been playing together.
Big baller.
For our youth, and was underrated when we were younger, but like I always rated him, and it's shown now that he keeps working hard, and he's doing what he's doing now. What about you, Haf?
This is a tough one. I played with a lot of good defenders, so my favourite defender to play with is my friend Mo Bella. Mo, definitely Mo, because he's silky as well. Like he's good. He's a great defender. He put his head, his heart, his head, everything on the line for me. I know that for a fact, Mo, and he's always my first pick.
Yeah.
Whenever we play, Mo first pick.
He's got feet.
Mo, and he's got mad feet. Like he could be a futsal player, probably play for England if he wanted to. But yeah, Mo's definitely up there. So Mo, my first pick usually, and a player that I'd pick as well, probably. And he's probably played against me and scored a hell of a lot of goals. Shout out George Moore. If he was serious about football, he'd be in the Premier League. He plays for Harrow. If he was serious about football, he'd be in the Premier League today.
Yeah.
But shout him out. George Moore. So Mo Bella, defender, and George.
Yeah.
Unbelievable players. Both underrated footballers as well.
Yeah.
Very, very underrated.
So what's the maddest thing you've seen there? Like, what? It must be a skill or a goal. Like a session where you just like, raw.
Them sessions need to be recorded, bro, because, bro, some of the content that you could put out for the world to see would be mad, bro.
Yeah.
Mad.
We'll go viral. That's the thing. We'll go viral. If we was to do something like, in terms of recording, doing stuff like that, it'd be too crazy. Like, it would blow up.
Yeah.
But another shout out, one of my close friends, again, underrated. If he took football a little bit more serious, he'd be playing at a very good level. Hafed Al-Droubi, we call him Riffs. He's a little magician. Like the feet that he's got, the reverse passes off both feet, the feet is finishing off both feet. He's ridiculous. Some of the things that I've seen him do a flip flap and then a flip flap backwards against one defender, nutmegged him twice and rolled it into the bottom of the net. And he is someone comfortably, I could say, one of my strengths as a goalkeeper is 1v1 saving, that 1v1 blocks or 1v1 shots.
Yeah.
He's probably got the better of me on 1v1s. He's probably the only player I've ever played with that scored more goals than I've saved in 1v1 situations.
Madness. Any situation you remember, Mo?
I just think there's just many situations. Like very regularly, there's always like team goals or individual brilliance, or we would be like 0-0 for like, I say 5 minutes straight and no one scoring, and then like out of the blue someone just does something crazy. So I can't pinpoint an individual sort of thing that I can remember, but majority of the time, I say 90% of the time, the quality is outrageous.
Yeah. It's just like I'm trying to think of words. You know, you get it all the time that you're spoiled. It's like spoiled for choice, you know, how many players come and train with you, and the standard as well that, you know, say for example, I go there in my off season, I get training and a couple sessions with you guys and everyone else, and it prepares me to go back, you know.
It definitely does. Not only does it prepare us physically, for like, especially for me and Melvin, and I know Melvin can attest to this, it doesn't just like prepare us physically, it prepares us mentally as well, knowing that you can, you know, compete with the best of the best players and do well against the best of the best players, like do well in those scenarios and those environments. Like I get so much confidence out of going to those sessions, doing well, and then pushing on. Like honestly, like those sessions there, like they're eye openers and they humble you ultimately, but they actually really help you. So you know, I could only say that those sessions have helped me massively over the last couple of years.
Moving on. Who's like, is there been a coach or has there been somebody in your life where they motivated you to get into football and kind of get to the level you're at now, and they've helped you along the way?
Do you want to go first, Haf?
So obviously from a young age, you know, goalkeeping is you have to be a crazy kind of person to be a goalkeeper. So you know,
you guys are most normal. I've probably met.
Yeah, I feel like we're the most normal crazy goalkeepers as well. We got our crazy sides, obviously, but when I was young, I was just football crazy, and you know, football kept me out of a lot of trouble. So a place that I used to lean on all the time was Alberton Goals. So I used to go to Alberton Goals in northwest London by myself some days, just with my cones and with my gloves and a couple footballs and whatever the case was there. And there's a person that used to always be there, just doing his own sessions, etc. And he kind of picked up on what I was doing from a young age, and helped me a lot. Was a friend of mine, Ash, and he's another goalkeeper that comes to our sessions, and he's a big figure in my life because he's a lot older than me. And he's always given me good advice and helped me with training sessions. And for like 3-4 summers, like we do sessions, just me and him alone, when I was super young, when I was like 15, 14, 16, like that age, at that age, where I'm most vulnerable in terms of like the pathways that I could go down on. Like I could forget about football and work and stuff like that. He kind of kept me on it and kept me humble and kept me hungry. So shout out to him, man. He played for England for in the 6-a-side mini football for years and years. So he's a top level goalkeeper, and he kept me humble. He kept me hungry, and you know, showed me a lot about goalkeeping. And you know, massive shout out to him. And I'm gonna send this piece to him because he means a lot to me, man. Honestly, and he helped me. He helped me out along my journey massively. So shout out to him.
Yeah. What about you, Mo?
Me, I'll say around the same age. I think it's 15, 16. When I was playing Sunday League before I transitioned into full time, I was at a club called Innswood FC, and they're based in so like Arsenal's academy training ground.
Legendary.
My coach, yeah. My
Jade
coach,
Bailey's dad.
Jade Bailey's dad, Danny Bailey. Him and Trevor Bailey, like, they gave me an amazing support, and I was only there for a season, so under 16s when I was leaving school. But yeah, like, they believed in me, they supported me, they gave me extra sessions when I needed it. They took me on trials of XYZ in terms of professional football clubs. So I would say, yeah, that critical time, like leaving school and deciding what you want to do at the next stage of your life, like for me, that came, at that age. And shout out Trevor Bailey and Danny Bailey for giving me the amazing support and really helping me on my life journey. So
Yeah, man. Because you guys have never played for academy, so I always wonder. For me, it's like I was in a different world mentally, you know. So I was always thinking, yeah, like you want to play football, you go to academy, then you go through the academy rank, and you know, try and make it to the first team type of thing. And then obviously you realize like there's so many other talented players not in academies and who are trying to do the same thing I'm trying to do, ultimately become the best footballer they can be. So yeah, just shout out to all the people that meant a lot to you guys. And yeah, for you guys, how is it, you know, when you know you're good enough, but maybe you just don't get the chance that other people might have got?
what are you talking about? At this age or when we was younger?
Any age.
Oh, I'm going. Have you go first?
I would probably say is you know, self-doubt is a massive part of, you know, grinding. So if as a goalkeeper, you know, you have to stand on your own too at all times. With midfielders, defenders, strikers, make a mistake, you got someone else mopping it up for you. Whereas with us, it's just us. Do you know what I mean? There's no one else. So for that initially to you know, install in your brain that no one else is going to help you out but yourself, that goes a long way in terms of like hunger. So from a young age, playing Sunday League, just, you know, making mistakes from a young age. And I urge a lot of young goalkeepers to not keep their head down and lose motivation just because they make mistakes. Like, the best of the best make mistakes, and you know, it's not about the mistake, it's about your reaction to the mistake. We can't control the mistake, but we can control our reaction to the mistake. So not being in an academy was something I couldn't control. I'll go on to say this, that I would have loved to be in an academy from the age of 8, 9, 10, whatever, pushed on, but I couldn't control not being in an academy. What I could control is how hard I worked away from being in the academy, how hard I grinded, all the extra hours I put in to get to the point I'm at now. And I'm nowhere near where I need to be in my career, and I'm pretty sure I'll push on at some point. But I couldn't control not being in an academy. So what I could control is working hard, doing my extra runs, doing things that the professionals were doing, and understanding that the professionals are working at 100% to be where they need to be. And I knew from a young age that I needed to work at 200% to surpass. So that's why Melvin's got them waking up at 6:30 in the morning and doing his extra sessions, because he knows that there's other goalkeepers that are out there that we're coming for. Like, we're coming and taking their shirt. It might not be next season, but at some point, me and Melvin are going to come and take their shirts, because we know that we have to work at 250% to be better than them. So back to my point, we couldn't control not being in an academy setup from young, but what we can control is how hard we work. So I leave it at that.
Yeah. That's great advice, man. What about Melvin?
So to be fair with myself, I went in the academy until 16. So I went to Oxford United at 16 when I left school, had an extended school where I played for their youth team. And then after that, a few years later, I went to Brentford's under 21s before they changed it to a B team. But I wasn't in an academy until the age of 16. So for me, like, as I've said, like, it was working harder than those that were in front of me, and just making sure that when I had the opportunity, whether it was a showcase or a Sunday League game, I was just performing to my maximum. But in terms of me now, I would say that like with being a goalkeeper, most professional football clubs have 2 or 3 max. So it's not like an outfielder's position where a striker at a club that would have four or five strikers or midfielders that would have 7 or 8. So goalkeeper is a very limited position. So, and what I realized is at the top level, there isn't many young goalkeepers playing week in, week out at the top level. If you look at the top level,
it's true.
maybe the Jordan Pickfords, Ian Hendersons, Donnarumma, that's at AC Milan, but most goalkeepers at the top level are 29, 30-ish. They're all experienced goalkeepers, and goalkeepers mature later into the game and stay later in the game. So it's like, that's why I believe, like, me and Haf, we've still got a chance, even at our age.
100%.
And like another prime example is Buffon. Buffon's 42 years of age, and he's still playing at the highest level possible. So like, you never ever know, like, certain things are down to taking opportunities when you get it. So like, as long as you do your thing and you give it 120% every single day, then you know that, God forbid, if it doesn't work out, you've given your best. If it does work out, you've earned it. So like, it's football's a marathon, not a sprint. So you just got to focus on just improving day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year.
Who made you, like, on a higher elite level, who made you fall in love with goalkeeping, and who do you look up to now where you're like, this guy's a joke?
Go on, Mav, you can start.
Oh yeah. So when I was younger, like, there was 3 in particular goalkeepers that I looked up to. Because I support Chelsea. Petr Cech used to be playing for Chelsea, so he was a good role model to look at. Dida, that played for AC Milan, Brazilian goalkeeper. He won the World Cup and Champions League, and also Buffon's another one. So they were the ones that I looked up to and I admired, and I always tried to implement what they were doing into my game. And then I'll say current goalkeeper at the moment, for me personally, the goalkeepers that I admire is Oblak and ter Stegen, because in terms of like the way goalkeeping has evolved and shifted over the last like 4 or 5 years, like, you have to be able to be comfortable at the ball at your feet, and distribution, and certain things are important. So like, I feel like those goalkeepers are the most consistent, and they perform week in, week out at the highest level. So they're the ones that I'd say, that the ones that I admire and I study the most.
What have?
When I was growing up, 2 goalkeepers in particular that I just loved and I admired, like, even to the point that I'd go and buy their gloves and buy their boots and have their glove-boot combination and all the way that they used to wear their gear and stuff like that. I used to do exactly the same thing. And I'm a massive Liverpool fan, so growing up, Pepe Reina was my idol.
I remember. Yeah.
My idol, like, I used to watch his games, and not only did I just watch them, I used to study him, like Melvin said. Like, everything he used to do, I used to try and go out there, implement in my game, like exactly the same thing. And so Pepe Reina and Iker Casillas, because obviously I'm not the tallest goalkeeper. I'm 6 foot, so I used to look up to goalkeepers that were kind of like my height, and I got motivation and inspiration from them, because I know that they're not the tallest, like, in terms of like what Melvin said, like Dida, Petr Cech, them goalkeepers are like 6'5", 6'4". Melvin himself is massive as well. He's about 6'4" himself. I'm 6 foot, so I'm looking at the shorter goalkeepers to give me motivation that they're playing at the highest level. I can do that, because a lot of the time in my career, the reason why clubs said no to me was because of my height. So when I'm looking at players like Casillas and Reina, who else is there? Keylor Navas, like the shorter goalkeepers, ter Stegen, they give me motivation to say, look, they're doing it and they're at the highest level. Why can't I?
Yeah. Well, for you, what would you say is, like, okay, you're talking about inches here, in terms of height and stuff, but as long as you can jump, then what is hindering you, like, or what is hindering the clubs from looking at you just solely on your height, let's say, for example?
Well, luckily, kind of like the game's evolved in my favour a little bit. So, like Melvin said, like, clubs look at goalkeepers that can play out from their feet now, and they're kind of not looking for a massive goalkeeper to come in. I mean, that's a positive, obviously. If you're massive and you can come and get every cross, it's a positive, obviously, innit? But clubs are looking for different things now. They're looking for an 11th player, a player like, if you watch ter Stegen play, he's a joke. Even Ariza Balaga, players like that, Alisson, they can play out from their feet better than some players I've seen playing at the highest level. Like, it's ridiculous. some of the things that they can do. So luckily, the game's kind of evolved in my favor. So I reckon exactly what Melvin said. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So
Yeah.
you know, as long as I can perfect my game and keep working and working hard, I'm sure in no time I'll get picked up by a club. So as long as I keep working hard and I don't lose motivation and keep grinding, I'm sure I'll be fine, because all I've got to do at this point is perfect my game. And I was having this conversation with Melvin off camera. I was telling him last time I saw him that we need to keep going. We need to be consistent. The more consistent we are, the better chance we have of pushing on. If we have one good season and a second season where it's not so good, that's going to hinder us, because all it takes is one excuse for a club to say no to someone like me and Melvin. Whereas if we have 4 or 5 consistent seasons, we give clubs no opportunity to say no. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why it's important for me, Melvin, other unsigned keepers to just be consistent, work hard, and obviously ultimately give clubs no opportunity to say no.
And of course, with you guys, like, it's just about staying ready for the opportunity, innit? So
exactly,
it's really what it's about. What would you say is being your highest point and your lowest point so far in your young careers?
That's a good question. Do you want me to go first, yeah?
Yeah, go first, man.
I would probably say highest point. I would probably say, I'll probably say signing at 2 different academies when I was younger. I'd probably say is highest point for me personally, like transitioning into full-time football. And then lowest point, I'd probably say is being released. I'll probably say,
Yeah.
When I'd been released, then I wasn't ready for what was to come after that. So I'd probably say, yeah. And I'd probably say, I'll say those two experiences.
What you have?
My greatest experience in my career so far is probably winning Player of the Season, Fans Player of the Season, and Managers Player of the Season. The end of last season at Harrow. And the lowest point of my career is the following season being dropped and released by Harrow. So that just shows you the transition of goalkeeping. Like, you're loved one day and then you're hated the next.
Crazy. Yeah. Just look at De Gea, man. Like, I still think he's one of, if not the best goalkeepers overall in the world. He might not be the best on form, but in terms of him as a goalkeeper, he's one of the best. I think overall he's one of the best goalkeepers to even do it, you know. But obviously right now he's not on current form, so you can see he's getting slated at the moment. But yeah, man. Haf, so what was it like? I see, I remember you featured for your country, right?
Yeah, so I done a training camp with my country 2014 when I was playing in Turkey. Yeah,
man. How was that experience?
Oh, it was unbelievable, like phenomenal. Like, I was playing in Turkey for a 3rd division team, right? And I got a phone call to my mum's phone, and it was like a random number, and the guy had said, I've been recommended to go and join their training camp because one of their goalkeepers got injured, and it was the under-20s World Cup, and it was being played in Turkey. So I went and joined it for like 4 weeks, like a whole month, yeah. And I didn't take part in any of the games, but I trained with my team. And then Pogba was at the tournament. It was the under-20s World Cup, 2013. If people was to go back and see what type of players played in that tournament, it's ridiculous. Like, I think Dean Henderson was playing then, Pogba, like plenty of players to mention. But just going there wearing my country's badge was an honour for me, and just seeing the kind of support that my country was getting, it was ridiculous. And we ended up getting to the semi-final and lost to Uruguay. So yeah, it was an absolutely incredible experience, and just being around fellow professionals and stuff. Like, I felt like I was one of them. So at that point, it was my first time being in a professional environment. I was 18 at the time, and it was unbelievable. Yeah, it was a real eye-opener.
What about for you, Melvin? You know, associated with Rising Ballers and Soccer AM. How is that like the other side of the coin in terms of football and YouTube and things like that, TV?
I'll say like being involved in all of that is something that I've been grateful for, and it's given me immense exposure. So yeah, like being involved with Rising Ballers initially, and just being showcased on different platforms and being given different opportunities obviously helps my profile a lot. And yeah, doing the stuff with Soccer AM before my games on a Saturday morning it's another amazing experience because I'm competing and I'm being around by like amazing different people that's been at the top level, and yeah, just getting advice from them and feedback from them has helped me on my journey. So yeah, the exposure has been crazy, but yeah, it's something that I've just really appreciated and been grateful for on the journey. So yeah.
Cool, guys. Just plug yourself, Instagrams, Twitters, all of that.
So my goalkeeping Instagram is HD the GK. So HD the GK, all in one word. No.
Oh yeah. So for me, my Twitter is MM and then Minter, which is my surname. So MM and then INTER_1, and then my Instagram is Minter again. So MMINTER with another R on the end and then 1. So that's Instagram. So
thanks, guys. You know, it's been a pleasure having you guys on. You know, talk about the journey, and you know, hopefully these young goalkeepers, they see this and they get inspired to do something big, and also, you know, hopefully you guys can just keep on that trajectory up to the top as well, man. So signing out, 3258 here with Goalkeepers, Melvin Minter, Hafed Al-Droubi. Thanks, guys, for coming on, man. I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Thank you, man. Love.